So we're here with Cardiff Devils Managing Director Todd Kelman. And Todd, you finally got your man, Jared Scully, is the new head coach of the Cardiff Devils. What qualities does Jared bring to this club?
Yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of great things to the Devils. It's interesting. It was quite an intense search. Extensive, I guess, is a better word to describe it. An extensive search for the new head coach, and we had a lot of time because of COVID. So we dragged it out. We interviewed a lot more people than maybe we would have if this was something that we had to hire, in a few weeks. But what I loved about Jared was I love the fact that he's got a CV that shows that he's done a lot of recruitment. He's been a director of hockey operations, East Coast League, and they do all their own recruitment. And he's well versed on video. Part of the process was a video presentation, and he aced it. It was great. It was really impressive. And I think he gives me the confidence that he's gonna own the room, and the guys are gonna respect him, and I think he's gonna get the best out of the players.
He has such an high-end CV, AHL coaching experience, Team Canada at junior level as well. Is that just such a clear sign of how far this club has come in the last 6 years?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised at some of the people we had applying for this job, with CVs better than Jared's. He wasn't the best. His CV wasn't the best, and that's nothing against him. It's saying the quality of applicants we had, but and that's why you do interviews. That's why you don't recruit on just on CVs. That's why you call that's why you call references. That's why you do your homework and. Yeah, he's coming out of the American Hockey League. He was an assistant coach with Wilkes-Barre Penguins, part of the Pittsburgh Penguins organizations, one of the top organizations in the NHL. He was a development coach there a couple years ago, and then he's been the American League assistant coach for a while. There's a thing on the if you're an elite prospects nerd like I am, you're probably going to see a U.S. prep school as last year as one of his coaching positions, but he was actually he was helping out I think it was his son's team in wherever he was. But make no mistakes, he was an American Hockey League assistant coach last year. He's very experienced as a player. He's one of the things that he said, I remember he said, I've been every player, and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I've played on teams where I was the leading scorer, and I played on teams where I was the fourth line plugger, and I had to change my game, and I know what mentally goes into every one of those roles. And I think that's, he said that's one of the things that makes him a great coach. And I think the fans are going to love him. I think he's a personable guy. I think he's going to command a room and not just a locker room. I think he's probably a guy that you'll hear a lot of stories out of, and I think the fans will really take to him.
Has Jared expressed to you the type of style that he wants to bring to this team? That, of course, for the last 6 years, it's been a very consistent style here, but there will be little touches put in. Has there been anything from Jared so far that you can divulge?
Yeah, we talked a lot about the style, his coaching style, and what the type of game he wants to play, and part of that was when he did the presentation, the video presentation. I don't want to give too much away. I know it's probably a year away from when we'll be playing our opponents, but I think you got to think of speed and skill, and those are the buzzwords, I guess, in hockey nowadays anyways. But he wants to play. He wants to be a fast team. He wants to get in there quick and let the skill players perform.
We did have to stress to him, and I'm just bringing it up to you as well, just so it's on tape twice. The league is the priority in this country.
He's well aware. He's well aware the league is the priority. I think that's the question every fan and every reporter will ask him. And it's like with import players too, right? When they first come over, it's hard for them to grasp that. But I've explained it to him numerous times, and I think he gets it. So,
you mentioned in one of the teaser press releases that you wanted someone here for the long term. What are the long-term ambitions that you want Jared to come in and achieve?
Well, the big thing for me is I've seen teams in our league, and in hockey, it's not just our league, it's hockey in general. I see teams that go through coaches every couple years or every 3 years or even, maybe every year or two. I don't want that. I was very happy with Andrew Lord as a head coach. If this opportunity with Greenville or another league hadn't come up, I'm sure Andrew Lord would have been happy coaching here for a number of years, and I would have been very happy with that. I like working with the same guy. I like having the same players back. You know, if I'm successful with a group of people, I like keeping that group together. And you know, part of this, you know, there were guys that I interviewed, and I could tell they were here. This was a stopgap. They were thinking, all right, maybe 1 year, and then I'll be back in a different league or this or that. And that's not what I wanted. One of the criteria we wanted to find our next coach for the next, you know, 5 years, maybe longer. We wouldn't do this much homework on a guy that we think is going to be here for 1 year. Our plan is to have him here for a long time and have a lot of success with him. And I think we found our guy.
Does it excite you as well, the contact list that he must be bringing with him as well, his playing CV, his coaching CV?
Yeah.
That must have opened up a whole new little black book for the club.
Yeah, absolutely. And every coach has their own, you know, list of contacts and connections of who they know, and it's interesting, you know, who they might, you know, who they might contact and who they know and which players like playing for him. And you know, he's already talked to me about a few guys, and that's probably the disappointing part is you get so excited going through this process, and you find the guy that you're excited about and you want to bring in, and then with COVID, we're basically put on ice for another year. But that was another thing. You know, we explained that's the scenario that could happen, and we're looking for someone that wants to be here whenever we start. And I mean, he's coached everywhere back in North America, and he is committed to coming here, and it's a point in his career, probably like a lot of players, when they get to a point where they think, you know what, I'm done with the North American grind, and I want to move over to Europe. And what I said to him is, I was like, this is the job where you come and you come to Cardiff and you put together the team, and you're pretty much with that group of guys for the whole year, and the goal is to win. It's not to get a certain amount of guys called up or sent down or traded, or there's none of that. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about trading guys before the deadline, or who's in the system that you got to call up, or which guys you have that are draft picks that you have to get prepared for the next level. It's just to win, and I think that's appealing as well.
Well, Todd, you've been very tight-lipped about this announcement. It must be a great relief to finally get it out in the open for all the Devils fans. I always thought that was an Andrew Lord thing, that information was kept behind, but it seems that it's a Todd Kelman thing.
No, it's a consistent thing with the organization. Yeah, we gave the hint. We gave the hint. I think Steve King on Twitter said something about let's get juiced, and that's Scaldy's nickname. I don't know why. I guess we'll all find out. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys will call him Juice, but I certainly will. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting talking about the process we went through, and I'm sure he discussed it, but you know, I think the fans would be interested. It's something that you know, we decided, you know, we talked amongst ourselves, were we even going to talk about the process? Were we going to tell people what we went into when we were looking at the coach? But we took a list of probably 70 applicants. We interviewed, I think, I get the number wrong all the time, maybe 12 to 16 people that we had an initial conversation with, and this is all done by Zoom. And which was probably good, because you could bang out a couple every day, kind of thing. But the way we did it was, I'm a big believer that I can't just interview these people by myself. I can't, because it's hard to engage with someone on face to face on the computer, and also take notes and also remember the important stuff. So we recorded every interview. It was me doing the face to face interviews with every one of them, and then Neil Francis and Andrew Lord helped out, and they were in on every interview with me. They took notes. So they wrote down, they had their own notes. They were all set up. The coaches were all aware that this was happening, and then we were able to compare notes, and it was good, because we did the initial interviews, I think, over about an 8-day period. I think we did 2 a day, and then we could measure them all up. We could compare them against each other, and there was stuff that I would miss talking face to face that maybe Lorda would pick up on, or Franny would pick up on, and then we slowly eliminated. I think we whittled it down to the next round of interviews, which is, I think, maybe 6 or 8. We did another interview, and then we whittled it down a little bit more, and then we actually sent them 2 game tapes, or links online to the full games, and we had I think it was 4 or 5 coaches break down an opponent and basically present how they do video, how they would be presenting to the team, to us. So they basically did a full pre-scout presentation to us, because we talked a bit off camera, like, if someone says on their CV they can speak French, I want to speak French to them, and I want to find out. I want to find out if they can speak French. So think of video as speaking French and lying about it on your CV. So we, these people say these coaches say they're well versed with all sorts of video, and they do their own video and they cut their own video, and that was part of the process. We had them break down a couple games, and Jared stood out in that. There was a couple guys that really blew us away with their presentation, and he was one of them. And it's interesting because you can see, I could see a lot of similarities in the way they broke down video to Lordo. I could see that, it's quick, it's snappy, he's good at it, he's very comfortable, he's done it a lot because, everything was very well organized. I could actually imagine the guys in the locker room seeing this and being able to be, because there's video for, a few minutes, and then there's video for an hour, and it's the attention span of not just athletes, it's the attention span of anyone. No one wants to see an hour presentation when 10 minutes will do. We then had, so after the presentation, we had the owner's interview. We got it down to 2 guys. We had the owner view, myself and the owners Zoomed with them, and we just, we talked back and forth, and it was more of a casual conversation. The owners wanted to know specifics about making sure that the candidates understood what the organization was about, what we're trying to do here in Cardiff, but also the family that we've sort of built here with everyone associated with the organization, from everyone involved, volunteers, staff, players, and the fans, and we have a very special relationship. And they also wanted to understand what kind of coach he was, and what kind of person he was, and his style of play, and what players he was looking at, what we needed. It was the interviews with the owners were pretty interesting. What came out of that. I also had Joey Haddad and Joey Martin interview him, which was good, and they interviewed 2 candidates as well. It was obviously before Marty left and went to Norway, but I thought that was important because I wanted a couple of our key guys that have been here a while and have been part of the whole process with Lordo, to spend some time with a couple candidates to see what they felt and see what they thought of the last couple candidates, and again, they came away from that, and I actually set up the Zoom call, and then I left it and left for an hour, and I came back and they were still talking, and Jared remembered them from their time in the East Coast League, and so they talked hockey, they talked systems, they talked what they felt the team needed, what players he thought would fit into what roles, and they talked about a lot of stuff, and I thought that was important. I think Joey and Joey both appreciated the fact that we included them on it, but for me that was very important because we're all hiring a different person, right? The owners want to hire someone that's going to lead the team, but also is good with media, good with fans, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to hire someone that I'm probably going to, besides my family, I'm going to spend the most time with over the next number of years. Like if you think of probably my best friend in hockey is Andrew Lord. I've just, he's just gone to Greenville. I'm trying to find that next guy that fits into my life in that way. And it sounds ridiculous, but you're hiring the guy that you're going to spend the most time with. And it's important that you click with that person and that your personalities, you can see yourselves working well together, because I try to not have just a business relationship with coaches. I want to be their friend, and I want to be comfortable with them. Where, if we're out for a beer talking hockey, he's not thinking, is he analyzing me because he's going to fire me or this? And I explain this to Jared as well. I'm all in. Like when I get my guy, I'm all in with. I'm going to tell you everything about the organization. I'm going to help you out in any way because I just want to win. And so don't ever be worried about if you hate an idea, if you hate something that we're going to do, tell me and we'll work on it. And the one thing I stressed to him is I said, remember, myself, Franny, will always be there. We'll always be there to listen to you. We'll make suggestions as far as player recruitment, all that kind of stuff. But it's your decision. Ultimate decisions, hockey-wise, is Jared Scaldi's, and as they were with Andrew Lord. I think Lordo loved having someone to bounce his thoughts off of, but the coach has to make the ultimate decision. He has to decide which players are coming in and fitting into his locker room, because he has to work with them every day. So, and that's something I've learned over time. I've said it over the last number of years. I've gotten less and less involved in the hockey side of things. I shouldn't tell people that because we've been quite successful, but I try to remove myself. Once the season starts, I try to remove myself as more and more from the hockey side of things. I'm there for Lordo, but I'm not. If we lose, I'm not going in the locker room and kicking down doors and throwing water bottles. There was a time when I did that, and you think back and you think I shouldn't have, because it's not my role. And when you get comfortable in an organization, you'll allow those areas to kind of be owned by someone else. And I think people talk about me like I'm a control freak, but I am, but it's not on the hockey side of things. It's probably more on, like, probably Corky and Katrina and Steve would talk more about me being a control freak. It's more on the business side of things, because I see that as my role. That's my baby, and I have to own that. So I want to make sure that the promotions and all that kind of stuff are done right. But as far as hockey, I wanted to hire someone that I felt when he walked in that room, he instantly commanded the respect that he deserved, and I think that's what we have in Gerald Scaldi.
Well, exciting times are ahead, it seems, Jared. That's an extremely thorough recruitment process, it seems, and Jared seems very happy to be making the move as well. So here's some more exciting times ahead in Cardiff, Todd.
Yeah, I think it's good that we finally have some positive news to talk about.
Absolutely.
It's not just players departing, and I want the fans to understand that, this has been happening in the background, and we know this is going on, and it's a good thing that we are moving forward now. Jared's committed to us for whenever the season is, whenever we start again, which is great, and that was something that was really important too.
Excellent, Todd. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'm sure there'll be some further updates in the next few weeks.